Hello, everyone, and welcome to Freebird Spirit YouTube channel. I am Debbie, and I have the amazing Adam Stargazing Astrology. So, Adam Free, welcome. And he has some unique readings, astrologically and numerology readings in regard to some current energies and energies going forward. As far as how all that works. I don't have all the language, but Adam does. And so I'm going to go ahead and pass it to you, Adam. But thank you, everyone, for watching and clicking on the video to hang out with us. Hi, Adam.
All right. Hello. So Debbie, thank you so much for having me on your channel today. This is we have a lot to talk about, so this is pretty exciting. So for everyone out there, if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, it's Adam Stargazing Astrology. So that is written down there. And I'm also offering astrology readings of all types. So if you have any questions related to any aspect of life for you or for someone else, then I am currently offering those readings. And my email is adamastro777@gmail.com. And that will also be on the banner below. So that is the email to send for all inquiries.
Perfect.
So we have a lot of big things happening right now. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is this conjunction of two planets. We have Saturn and Neptune. So Saturn and Neptune are coming together. They're merging together in the sign of Aries. Now, this has not happened for hundreds and hundreds of years. So Aries is all about new beginnings. And Saturn is all about structure and foundation, and Neptune represents idealism and the soul. So this puts this is like a fusion between spirit and matter, putting us on a whole new trajectory, a whole new round, and a whole new wave for basically like a whole new thought form. Now there is a spiritual element
I
to
just want
this.
to interject real quick, Adam, here with that.
Mm-hmm.
The structure and idealism with those two planets. And
Yeah.
you can see that shakeup right now. That
Mm-hmm.
is quite amazing that it's playing
Mm-hmm.
out in our universe as well.
Yep.
In the
So
sky. Wow. I'm sorry, you guys. I
astrology.
just
So there's what it is astrology directly it directly mirrors the the uh, the play of the universe, so to speak. So people's actions, habits, tendencies, they all reflect what's going on in the esoteric sky. So that is the truth and the magic of astrology. Now, those two planets are meeting at the beginning of Aries. So this is the birthing of kind of like a new revolution, so to speak. So that is very, very exciting. So another thing that I wanted to talk about is the planet Jupiter. So Jupiter represents luck. So Jupiter has been in the sign of Gemini, which is basically Trump's sign. His north node, which is his evolutionary direction of progression, his sun sign are all in Gemini. So Trump won the presidency when Jupiter was in Gemini. That's his lucky star. Jupiter is going out of Gemini and it's going into the sign Cancer June 9th. Trump has the planet Saturn sitting next to Venus in Cancer. So what does this mean? Saturn represents your karma and Venus represents your popularity. People born with Saturn next to Venus, Trump, Jeff Bezos, these people have the ability to be able to have a lot of authority over individuals. But it depends what they're going to do with that authority. And that is all linked to their karma. Now, Jupiter is going to come into Cancer. Trump has Saturn there. It's going to amplify his karma. And we know he has not put out good karma. So coming July 9th, we are going to see uh, a big energy shift go on when his karma gets amplified by Jupiter going to into his sign that rules his Saturn. For example, if he was an individual who spread goodwill, that karma would in a positive light.
Right. It would
But
reflect
since he's
positive.
not,
Yeah.
yeah. But since he's not, it's not going to look good for him. So that being said, expect an kind of an expansion of negative energy going towards his way, because that's what he put out. And also expect his popularity to take a huge nosedive. Because his karma's next to Venus, Saturn's next to Venus, the karma's next to that aspect of popularity. They're like one and the same because they're sitting right next to each other. Another thing is Uranus is moving into Gemini soon as well. So Uranus is moving into the sign that is ruled by his north node. So expect more instability. The instability is going to be magnified. So if you were at all hoping for any sort of remote remote feeling of stability from this administration, that will never happen. Expect a lot of ups and downs with
I just have to show you. It goes right along with what you're saying. I thought I'd take a look at his
yeah.
cards around
Yep.
July 9th. You have the
Yep.
5 of Pentacles and the 2 of Cups in reverse, and that
Yep.
speaks to that hardship and disharmony, disengagement.
Yep.
Yeah.
So another thing as well is we're in 2025. So 2 plus 2 plus 5 is 9. We're actually in a 9-year right now, which is the ending of a cycle. 2026 brings on a whole new round. So we want to combine that with the North Node, which is the evolutionary direction of progression. That is currently in Pisces. Pisces is also wrapping up the end of an old cycle. So what we're actually really doing here with the North Node in Pisces, we're essentially wrapping up the Piscean age here. The North Node now, middle of next year, will be going into Aquarius. This is when we are going to see some real Aquarian energy come through.
Ooh.
Next year, mid next year, is truly the beginning of the Aquarian age, and a 1 year. So,
And it's beginning. Yeah, 1 year.
So that being said, I had some intuitive downloads of possible scenarios. So one very possible scenario is that Trump being at the top, and then his cabinet are all like dominoes. Trump falls. A lot of the cabinet falls like dominoes. Some of them may go to jail for insider trading, things like this. And other cabinet members might be asked to maybe just vanish and get off the stage, or maybe get thrown in jail. So that is one download that I got. That is something that is definitely a possibility. As far as timelines, you know how it is being intuitive, right? You pick up
Right.
potential
Timelines are.
timelines. Yeah.
Yeah, but you have an extra tool in your toolbox with astrology to kind of narrow it down a little.
Yeah. The astrology acts as a good timeline. So my surmise is that next year, February, March is the real possibility of some real endings. Because Pisces brings endings. So we'll see what happens come, let's say, around February, March of next year. That's when we're gonna start to see some real endings with this shenanigans. Another thing too is, I really don't see JD Vance as vice president, or stepping up to president as well. So there's a couple possible things, right? This could be the whole new restructuring and the beginning of a true Aquarian age, which people start to live more communally, more grassroots, and pull back from things like the government. that some of that stuff is going to happen. Another thing too is that it ends up swinging in a much more democratic um, state of consciousness, and all those individuals who have lied and cheated right now, like the cabinet, who they're all dripping insider trading guilt. They end up not having the power anymore.
2026 looking good for us. You have that Three of Wands, the Four of Wands, and the King of Cups. So a lot more stability there, especially with emotions. But look at that bright future. A really coming together, a different feel to it too. It's a real connectivity, a collective coming together there. And we're looking so much better.
Wow.
With the Queen of
Okay, yeah,
Pentacles and the Ace of Pentacles. So
wow.
a whole new direction there. And as far as people going to jail for their involvement in this administration,
Ooh.
absolutely. Look at all those
Oh,
swords
great.
and wands. Yeah. So yeah,
Mhm.
I wanted to back you up on all your intuitive hits there.
Thank
Okay.
you. And we know right now, for example, they're trying to push this big bill and cut Medicaid and Social Security and all this stuff.
I just
All
did
I
a
can
deep
say,
dive. That's what I was doing.
oh
I
yeah,
just uploaded
yeah,
that on that big, horrible bill.
yeah. All I can say is like, well, you're just like digging yourself an earlier grave, pretty
Horrid.
much.
Horrid.
hmm Yeah, it's horrible. My intuitive hit is that this is not going to go through.
You don't think
Um,
so?
no, I don't. Mm-mm. But we'll just have to see.
Yeah, if it does, it's a whole nother level of this administration affecting everyone.
hmm
It's,
hmm
people feel like, well, that's happening to them. It's not affecting me. This is going to affect everyone
hmm
if
hmm
this bill
hmm
passes.
hmm So, another thing as well is that if this bill ends up passing, um, I want to go back to last Pluto and Aquarius, um, in which Marie Antoinette and her gang got their heads chopped off for being too arrogant and being too snotty and not caring about the people. So history does repeat itself. So say the bill passes, Pluto and Aquarius isn't very happy with that.
Mm-mm. It's going to be definitely
hmm
the ending of them.
Yeah. So all I can say is that if it does pass, it's actually going to end up speeding up the process. Um, we just hope things don't have to get really nasty. They're already nasty, but it's really a matter of how quickly are these people going to learn their lessons, right? And what their soul has signed up for as far as learning their lessons. Some people need to really learn the hard way. If this is the way it plays out, then so be it.
Yeah,
hmm
it's just unfortunate.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. It's extremely unfortunate to
Uh,
basically everyone but them. Um, so another thing is um the Aquarian age now is going to end up bringing some really amazing like healing techniques. So Aquarius really rules. Aquarius is a sign that is scientific, mystical, etheric, very mental. So as we go on through the Aquarian age, new healing techniques, new mental healing techniques are going to come. There's going to be like a whole new uncovering of kind of like a whole new age wave throughout the years of all sorts of amazing healing techniques, a lot having to do with mind power. So that is something that is going to be fun to look forward
Mind
to.
power.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like telepathy and stuff like that?
Um, possibly telepathy, but like Joe Dispenza, for example, he do you know Joe Dispenza?
It's yes.
So he got in an accident a while back, I believe a car accident, and he messed his body up totally, and he ended up healing himself through basically
Right.
the power of presence.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so he is. I sort of see him as like an early pioneer for for more of those wavelengths to kind of operate from in the future as far as healing. And that is very Aquarian as well.
Okay, gotcha.
Mhm, mhm,
Yeah, and we talk about this a lot on in this channel about the intuition and everything kind of opening up and the veil thinning or whatever you want, however you want to say it, but we talk about that a lot and how it's getting
mhm.
more and more. Yeah, so it makes
Oh,
sense to
yeah.
also diving deeper into those modalities where you know we can heal ourselves, we using more of our brain power or more of our
Yeah.
understanding of
Yeah.
energy and utilizing that. Mhm.
Yeah, almost like kind of more of like our God-given ability that we have shut
Yeah.
ourselves off from for literally like thousands of years. Thousands. We've been trapped in kind of a real dark age. If you look at the recent history and a lot
Oh,
of those
yeah.
fantasy movies and all this, it's all like a lot of this stuff. We're basically like coming out of the dark ages right now.
100%, Adam. Yes, because I feel like
Mhm,
we had this knowledge before, and then it was shut down because we were being burned at the stake and all that.
mhm,
Yeah, they
mhm,
shut that down because they thought that was just
mhm.
too powerful or whatever, and then
Oh
we're
yeah,
just coming out
yeah.
of it now, but they're trying to put us back in, with this administration, but
Exactly, exactly. And even, something like reincarnation, that was actually a known fact. That was taken out of the Bible. In a time where people were really religious and really relied on the church, right? The church had so much power, they took reincarnation out for control purposes, right?
oh, yeah, and they no one knew how to read, so you had to believe what you were being told, and
Hmm. And and what I think is so interesting too, this new pope has arisen. And even the Pope, for example, says that a relationship should be just between a man and a woman.
oh, yeah.
Things like this. Like he's still even in this like tiny little cardboard box.
He's still boxed in a bit. I feel like, though, with him,
Mhm,
because he wants to be progressive, so I bet, I feel with him that might shift over time, that he may
it could.
become more
It could.
open. Mhm.
Hmm. Hmm.
He's willing
I mean,
he's
hmm
he's willing,
hmm hmm
I feel.
yeah, yeah. No, that's a definite possibility. Also, I feel too as the Aquarian age progresses, things like figureheads will still be there, but their importance will lessen just because the part of the Aquarian signature is to rebel against existing and old structures. Um, through the yeah and break down those structures through the process of rebelling and attuning oneself more into a kind of like a higher mental frequency.
Yeah. Yep.
Mhm.
And to keep up because we're all shifting, right? We're all
Mm,
moving into that higher frequency. We're tuning to it. Our bodies are tuning to it. Um, and for this new pope, he's going to have to keep up too.
mhm, mhm. It's so true. Yeah, he's gonna end up having to be kind of the hopefully kind of the figurehead for the Aquarian age.
One of
Mhm.
them. Mhm.
Yeah, it's gonna be
It could have been worse.
interesting.
It could have been worse.
It could have been
But
worse. Oh yes, most definitely. What I find actually really amazing is the speed and the rate at which the Trump administration is collapsing. Um, this essentially, this is actually really fantastic. I know it's hard to see, but it's only been a couple months and they're already so deep in the gutter.
Gosh. Yeah, but of course, um, their narrative about it is the exact opposite, right?
Of course, but another motto of the age of Aquarius is I am the truth speaker. May the truth be told.
Mm.
So you can't really hide behind that one. If this were the medieval days, for example, he probably would end up getting decapitated, just like
Oh,
Marie
he would, yeah.
Antoinette.
If this was medieval, he would have already probably been taken out.
I know. So, yeah, there's more protection for him nowadays with the guns and stuff like that. Yeah, so those are some of the really major things I wanted to talk about. Is there anything else
Okay.
that you wanted to mention?
I was just, you spoke of the downfall of this administration. If you were
Yeah,
looking out at the astrology and how it's playing out for this
yeah,
administration, have you done the astrology on this administration? If you can you do that from the day he was inaugurated on the
yeah. So that's a good question. What I just do is I just do the astrology for Trump because
Oh,
literally
okay.
it's like a domino effect.
True. It'd be interesting though if you did it from, how the start of this
Um,
administration, January 20th, 2025,
yeah.
as it was born, and he literally, well, he didn't put his hand on the Bible, but he literally was at this time, he said his thing. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That'd
Yeah,
be interesting.
that is something, I know the inauguration, there was a strong, for example, the sun sign was sitting next to Pluto, so there was a strong sense of purpose and that was a very kind of powerful day. But that was just
Mm,
kind of the energy of the day of the inauguration. For example, though, I have looked at like Marjorie Taylor Greene's chart. She has aspects in her chart that could definitely indicate someone who ends up going to jail. Um, I've looked at Pam Bondi's chart, for example. She's a Scorpio. She has a lot of Scorpio energy. She has a lot of these kind of twisted aspects that indicate that she enjoys watching the suffering of other individuals. So she's a very twisted, perverted, kind of sick witch type.
yeah, yeah. Uh,
Yeah. Hmm.
well, I'm looking at the downfall of cards for the downfall of, this administration.
Hmm.
I have the High Priestess in reverse, the Moon in reverse, and then the Four of Swords. And
Oh,
so
okay.
it's
Okay.
like complete
Oh, yeah.
loss.
The high priestess in reverse, I mean, that is like their whole like hidden agenda is like starting to like sink.
Yeah, yes,
Totally.
yes.
Totally.
Their agenda is
Yeah.
no longer hidden.
It's
You know what I mean? It's out in the open, and
mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
and they have, yeah,
Their
it
their
just
secrets are starting to pour out of their nostrils. Just like you look at MAGA Mike,
Oh my God.
and that guy's his brow is dripping of insider trading. I mean,
Uh,
just dripping of it.
you know, I have extra yucky, about I mean, I just with, MAGA Mike, Moses Mike, whatever, he thinks he's
Mhm.
Moses. Um,
Oh, he thinks he's of
he
course he
literally
thinks I'm a what?
said he literally said on camera that, God came to him and said that he's Moses.
So he has like a religious complex there, like an ego complex related to a religious figure.
Well, that gets
So he's basically delusional, which
yeah,
isn't
that gets
really a
scary.
surprise. I mean,
And,
honestly, like they're all delusional. Trump, I mean, look at him.
well, sure. But
Yeah.
but it goes to show you that he,
He puts
what
himself
kind of
up there with
backs
God.
him, that whole complex that backs him to
Hmm.
keep doing these horrible things. But it's
Hmm.
a little
Yeah,
bit of an
totally.
oxymoron, because if you know anything about Moses, Mike is a Speaker of the House, but Moses, he couldn't speak. He had to have Aaron. God sent Aaron to speak for him because he couldn't speak. He had some kind of, we're not sure, but some kind of, maybe it was an impediment, maybe it was,
Yeah.
but he couldn't speak. He had Aaron speak for him.
Okay.
So I
So,
think that's funny. It's a little oxymoron. I shared it earlier on my channel, but it's a little, with him saying he's Moses. I'm like, Moses couldn't even speak, and you're the Speaker of the House.
maybe he
Anyway,
should pick a different character then.
exactly. Well, thank you for this.
Zebediah. There we go.
There you go. Or someone else. Anybody. How about
Someone.
oh, I can't think of someone right now, but
Hmm.
oh,
Leviathan. There we go. Leviathan.
there you go. How
Saint
about him?
Leviathan.
No one ever says, God told me I'm Leviathan.
Yeah. I love the first round you did. You got the Five of Pentacles. That card just makes me laugh. The down and out, the karmic repercussion card.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
Hmm.
Well, Adam,
Yeah.
thank you.
Hmm.
And
Thanks
this
for
has been
having me on.
wonderful. And you guys,
Yeah.
it's nice to know, and we're playing out the 9-year and closing things out. And 2026 is, we're back to 1. So new beginnings, and it feels so much better for then. But also that the stars are aligning to all this as well. So it's really playing out.
Yes.
And so let's
Yes.
look for that amplified karma in and around July 9th, you're saying, for Felon 47?
Yeah, so Jupiter will move into the sign of Cancer July 9th. However, it's in that sign for an extended period. So just watch the next 6, 8, 10 months, year, right? Things will move slowly, 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 slowly. Not super slow, but they won't happen overnight. July 9th
Right.
is when the clock ticks. And then
Okay.
Jupiter will own that domain
Gotcha.
for an
Okay.
extended period. Yeah.
All
Yeah. So
right.
yeah, nothing will happen overnight.
Nothing overnight. Nothing like everybody just wakes up on July 9th and goes, oh, nothing happened. No, it's in and around that time period. You're going to start seeing some movement where his karma begins to be amplified. Okay. Well, you know where to reach Adam, adammastro777@gmail.com. And also go to his YouTube channel, Adam's Stargazing Astrology, and make sure to subscribe and click that bell so he gives updates and so forth, keeps us all informed. So thank you for what you do for us in this community, Adam. And family, thank you for watching, and we will see you all next time.
Bye,
Blessings.
everyone.